Oh, thank you so much, Kelly, as well. Where did you go?
Here.
Oh, sorry. You took your jacket off. I couldn't find you. That was amazing. Very, very inspiring. And I love that you ended on a note around identity, because it's a perfect segue, as if we've discussed outfits, everything. It was all planned. But no, hi, I'm Gabi. Yes, so I have been an expat in different countries all through my life. I was originally born in Bosnia, lived in Austria, lived in the UK, lived in the US for a bit, and I'm also an entrepreneur. And one thing that I've noticed throughout all those different journeys is that your identity is a really complicated thing. And when we are in new spaces and when we are lonely or feeling like we just need to occupy ourselves or focus on something particular, people like myself who are entrepreneurs or like to build businesses, they throw themselves into that fully and wholly. And that comes with some risks. So I'd love to tell you a bit more about that and my experience. So in my very first business, I dedicated everything to supporting families affected by dementia to feel closer connected to each other. We worked 24/7. No breaks, no weekends, no social life. It was just my co-founders, myself, and our vision for a few years. When that fell apart overnight, I had never felt more disconnected from myself. I remember sitting in my little room, it was in New York back then, alone, crying. It was also a weird time of the day, so everyone I loved and knew in Europe was asleep, so there was no one to talk to. And my life had basically fallen apart. And for the longest time, the only solution for that I could think of was to be that 26-year-old that would move back home to her parents' house, which I'm really grateful I had that option. But there was one question that kept coming up for me. If you become your business, if you become your profession, your role, when that goes away, who are you? In the startup world, we're told this story that entrepreneurs have to sacrifice everything for their vision. We celebrate the obsessed winners, and let's be honest, we kind of forget about the obsessed failures. And Silicon Valley doesn't just sell us innovation. It sells us this dangerous idea that for an entrepreneur to be successful, they have to cease to exist beyond their company. And here's what this idea costs us. Research shows if someone's identity is focused on one single role, any disruption to that role threatens their entire self-concept. Business failure becomes identity failure. I've recently done research in my work at LSE in London, and I've looked at almost 200 entrepreneurs globally. And we've looked at concepts like identity fusion, which is this theory that, think of it as circles. You have yourself, and you have another thing. It might be your identity as a founder, it might be your job, it might be a community you're part of, and you're kind of trying to see how much they overlap. If someone is fully fused with one single role, it can be dangerous. It can lead them to doing things they shouldn't do. They will not look after themselves because they will sacrifice everything for the thing. And in my research, I tried to design interventions and experiments to try to get people to be less fused, to get them to understand that they are not their business. And the results of all that are coming out next year, so this is just hot off the press and a little tidbit, but it's almost impossible. If someone is fully fused with an identity like that, it's really hard to get them out of that. So we need to, throughout our careers, be conscious of that and try to build up our identities beyond the one around it. So when I think of the entrepreneurs I've worked with, I've seen it a lot. Their friends become distractions. Family become like people who just don't get it. And really, and again, I don't think, I'm not talking about the times when you have to focus for a day, a month, or years to really get something up from the ground. I'm talking about the risk that any business setback becomes a personal failing. We are really, in entrepreneurship, we're creating fragile founders by design, and because 90% of startups fail, we're kind of setting them up for identity failure and collapse. So what if I was to tell you that having diverse identities does not make you worse at your job or a worse founder, it makes you better. Having diverse identities makes entrepreneurship more sustainable. Like a good investor has to have a diversified portfolio, an entrepreneur should have diversified identity. So it could be founder and artist, founder and athlete, founder and parent, founder and mentor, and translate that to whatever your current profession is. Because really, research proves that people who have more diverse and multiple identities are more resilient. They will look at problems in a way where they are challenges that they can solve, rather than a threat that they have to survive. Yvon Chouinard, for example, never wanted to be just a founder. He's a climber, surfer, an environmental activist, and just happens to also be the founder of Patagonia. His diverse identities were not a distraction. They've always been a competitive advantage. The climbing has taught him durability and tenacity. The environmental activism has given birth to 1% for the planet, and his love for adventure has built a culture where the team really understands what customers want and what products they will buy. So maybe Patagonia is so successful because Yvon Chouinard doesn't just want to be a founder. And when I think back to myself in my little room in New York, I thought I'd failed as a founder when the failure really was thinking that a founder is all I could be. So for you, I'd love you to think about who are you beyond your LinkedIn profiles? When you go and network later or at dinner tonight, don't start by introducing yourself with your company or your profession. Think about one particular question, and this is mostly for this is a lot for those of you who are maybe early in the journey of figuring out who they are and what their multiple passions are. Just think of one question. Before all this, your current role, your current business, what was it that really made you come alive? And to introduce myself again in the right way, I'm Gabby. I'm an inspiring writer. I am a fantasy book enthusiast. I'm a behavioral scientist, amateur actress, really bad at it, and also behavioral scientist and co-founder of my company. So if you want to chat about any of these things later on, please do let me know. I'd love to talk to all of you. Thank you.